Today in grade 10th, we are going to start with a new topic of civics, that is chapter 1, power sharing. Let us have an overview of this chapter, what actually this chapter is saying about. With this chapter, we resume the tour of democracy that we started last year. So in last year's civics, you have first chapter, what is democracy and why democracy. So that is democracy is about power only. So this is related to democracy, why the power and how the power should be shared, or what are the cons and consequences of sharing the power if they are not distributed properly. An intelligent sharing of power among legislature, executive and judiciary is very important to the design of a democracy. So we have three different wings of constitution, that is the legislature, executive and judiciary. So the power should be designed an intelligent way in these three wings, that they should work at their optimal, as well as they should not hinder or hinder or try to control the power or the working of other wings. In this and the next two chapters, we carry this idea of power sharing forward. We start with two stories from Belgium and Sri Lanka. So these are the examples of two countries, how they have done the power sharing, and even we will try to understand what were the consequences of these two different ways of sharing the power. We start both these stories are about how democracies handle demand for power sharing. The stories yield some journal conclusion about the need for power sharing in the democracy. This allows us to discuss various forms of power sharing that will be taken up in the following two chapters. So we have here Belgium and Sri Lanka. We will be starting with Belgium. Yes, we'll starting with Belgium. Now Belgium is a small country in Europe, smaller in area than the state of Haryana. Okay, so the area of Belgium is smaller than the Indian state of Haryana. So you can understand the country is very small in the form of area as well as in the form of population. It has bordered with Netherlands, France and Germany. It has a population of a little over 1 crore, about half of the population of Haryana. So it is smaller than Haryana and even half of the population. So this example is given of a very small country with a very less population, but there is a diversity over there. So that is the only reason the example is given over here. Now here the value, the word is given, the ethnic composition. In your book also you have the word given, ethnic composition. So it means over here below in that page only, in the glossary you can see a social division based on the shared culture. So means in a country, ethnic groups means like people living in that country have different culture division based on the social culture. So the division of the country is divided on the social culture. People belong to the same ethnic group, believe in their common descent because of similarities of physical type or of a culture or both. They need not away have the same religion or nationality. Here means it's not necessary that they have same religion and nationality, but the culture, the way of living and the sociality is same. So the ethnic composition of this small country is very complex because there are three different wings which we are going to study right now. Okay, composition. Okay. Is very complex. Of the country's total population, which is less than 1 crore, 59% lives in Flemish region. That the map is given in that page only. It is on the northern part. The 59% lives in the Flemish region. So total out of 100%, whatever the population, 59% lives in the Flemish region, and they speak Dutch. They speak Dutch language. Just remember this. If you want, you can underline it because later on we need to compare it. Another 40% people live in Wallonia region and speak French. This is the southern part of the country, the shaded part in your that. So the rest of the population lives in the Wallonia region. They are only 40% and they speak French. Now 1% is left. Remaining 1% of the Belgians speak German because that eastern side is bordered with the Germany. So 1% people speak German. In the capital city Brussels, that is also entitled or circled in your book, In capital cities of Brussels, 80% people speak French while 20% are Dutch speaking. Now look at in capital, it is completely opposite, vice versa. The total population 40% which speak French, out of that 80% means जो कंट्री में सिर्फ 40% लोग फ्रेंच बोलते हैं उसके 80% मेजॉरिटी आर लिविंग इन द कैपिटल सिटी, सो दे हैव अ कंट्रोल, दे बिलीव दैट दे हैव अ कंट्रोल. और जो मैक्सिमम स्पीकर्स है डच, दैट इज 59%, मोर देन 50%, या they are having only 20% in the capital. Yeah, the minority French speaking community was relatively rich and powerful. Now these are the quality, they were rich as money is there, so they take over the industries and economy, so they become more powerful though the population was less. Yes. This was resented by the Dutch speaking community who got the benefit of economic development and education much later. Yeah. This led to tension between the Dutch speaking and French speaking communities during 1950s and 1960s. So during 1950s and 1960s, so these two communities came create tension in the country with the power, means control over the country, the government over the country. Yeah. So if you look at, there were two vice versa thing. एक चीज़ पूरे कंट्री में वी हैव 59 पीपल ऑफ डच स्पीकिंग, बट जहाँ कैपिटल है वहाँ सिर्फ उनका 20% पॉपुलेशन है. देन वी हैव 40% ऑफ फ्रेंच, या दिस इज इन द माइनॉरिटी, बट व्हेन यू मूव ऑन टू द कैपिटल दे आर इन द मेजॉरिटी. सो एकदम ऑपोजिट सिचुएशंस आर, सो इट बिकम्स मोर कॉम्प्लिकेटेड ओनली. ओके. The tension between these two communities was more acute in Brussels. Brussels present a special problem. The Dutch-speaking people constituted a majority in the country but a minority in the capital. Let us compare this to the situation in another. So this is the thing which we need to. We will start with the another country later on.